Good afternoon, folks. In this video, I'm going to briefly take you through an example of a folio and what one might look like. So this student here, this is from a couple of semesters ago. This is a fairly well-known student on campus. Some of you may know him, but in any case, his assignment sheet for the folio was a little bit different, but what he does here is he starts out with the writer's statement on the front page of the folio, and in your case, what you probably want to do in your writer's statement is not only emphasize, who you are as a writer, i.e., what your skill set is, how you got to where you are as a writer, your strongest influences, etc. It doesn't have to be and completely elaborate, but you should emphasize one or 2 points as to, how you begin to develop how you see yourself as a writer. So, for instance, experiences that sort of have had a indelible mark on who you are as a writer, how you feel about writing, how you approach it, etc. And you can even go into, if this semester and anything that you've learned and experienced throughout your college experience thus far has influenced you. And also in your writer's statement, because it is an introductory piece, you can also talk about the nature of the writings that you're including. So, for example, the assignment sheet asks you to include reflective writing, researched writing, and analytical writing. So you can talk about what you've included in this statement in those terms. Now, it also says in the assignment sheet that you need 3 completed projects. Well, for some of you, you'll be able to pull from 1301. You might have already have a folio partially constructed for 1301 if you did one pre-pandemic. But in any case, you want to be able to talk about those projects, whether they're from 1301 or from 1302 or both, relative to those categories, right? Research writing, analytical writing, and reflective writing. And obviously, in the context of the various projects, you do have, for this class, you've got 7 reflections, actually 8 if you count the end of term reflection, the course reflection that you'll do next week, right? So you've got quite a bit of reflection and so forth. But the key point is, when you introduce a project in here, you want to emphasize when you're talking about that project, what form of writing do you believe that this piece is, and why? And it may be that it's something that you put in there qualifies as more than one form of writing, which is actually true usually. Okay, so let's just go through this. All right. So what I did is I switched to edit mode, and I have editor privileges on here. I'm not going to change anything that he's done, but I want to show you how he's gotten to where he's gotten. So we're going to go here, we're going to unlock this, and again, like I showed you previously in previous video, if you click on this edit navigation module button here, so now you can see that when you do this, it shows how all of the various pages in here are tiered out, right? So everything, even with this home here, actually shows up on that horizontal navigation bar. Everything that's moved out, like this, for instance, other writings, shows up directly underneath that navigation bar and so forth. And I'll go back and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. But you can see how this is all tiered out as if it were a flow chart or an outline, etc. Right? So I'm just going to cancel this. And I showed you how to do this in a previous video. Plus, again, I want to call your attention to the very nicely done help page on the Digication website, which is linked for you in your Digication resources folder. Okay, and I believe on your Blackboard page, it's called ePortfolio Final Exam or something like that, the folder. In that, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we're not going to do anything here, so I'm just going to click Cancel. Now, I'm going to bring it back up to the Publish mode. So, Publish mode, incidentally, is what somebody sees when they come into your folio, right? Who doesn't necessarily have any kind of editing privileges. All right, so this is his homepage. Now, he's got this divided into English 1301 and 1302, which is a fine way to do it. You can also categorize your writings by way of the three different types of writing: reflective, analytical, and researched. You can do it that way too. Okay, but let's just so remember I told you that showed you how he had everything tiered out. Well, so here he's got underneath English 1301, he's got other writings, and then reflective writing, and so on and so forth. Of course, retrospective. Then he's got the different projects. Okay, the two different projects for his 1301 class, and then the various elements of those projects underneath that, and so on. Right. Also, just so like if I wanted to look at that, see, then this is that, and it of course takes a moment for it to populate, but then we have that particular piece. If I wanted to go to edit mode, right, on this, I can click here and it shows me the background options and so forth. This you'll just have to play with in terms of setting your background image, what you want your background images and so forth. I have no preference. I'm not going to tell you what to do there. So long it is not terribly distracting. And what I mean by that is, you don't want to have colors on top of one another that would, for example, take away from the reading of the text, make the text harder to read. A good idea would be to perhaps use a background image or an accompanying photo or video or whatever you want to add that actually pertains to the subject matter of the piece that you have on a particular page. Okay, that's that's a good idea, and it enhances it emphasizes the functionality of the folio. Remember, the folio is not simply a digital paperclip. What it's designed to do is to be a curated space for your work. So the idea is that you're consciously controlling how people are going to see your work. It's very deliberate, right? So everything that you put in this folio and the way that you put it in your folio and so forth, all of that is supposed to go into a particular vision of how you want your work to be seen, how you want your work to be perceived. Okay? So, and again, the best advice I can give you as far as the folio is concerned is to go to that Digication website and look at those videos. In fact, I will navigate out of here and I will show you that once again. So, all right. we've looked at a folio. You can see kind of what a finished product can look like. Okay, and in the last video that I did for you, I went into a little bit more, as far as the folio, I went into a little bit more detail as to the functionality. But again, the functionality that I can demonstrate is nothing compared to the functionality that's already demonstrated on the Folio website itself. So that's where I'm going to take you now. Okay, so I'm going to X out of here because that's not your class, and I don't want you to necessarily have to see in there. So we're going to go to Blackboard, find our class here. All right. Okay. Course content. So you'll see the final folio, final exam folder. Okay. We click on here. You'll see the official help guide to the digital folio. Okay, if you click this, it takes you to this page. Now, on this page, it may take some navigating, some digging. You know, similar to when you first went into the databases and you were looking for sources for your annotated bibliography. You know, it may take a little bit of playing around, but you will be able to find what you need to find here. Okay, and a lot of this, like most of these help icons, for example, help topics, I should say, for example, they have either detailed photos, okay, or a lot of them, and they have, step-by-step instructions, as you can see here, or a lot of them have actual videos on them as well that will show you, that actually take you through a video process, right? So it's worth, having this page up in your, in the background, or as an open tab as you're working on your folio, because everything that you're going to need is on this page. Okay, again, I want to emphasize, as I said in the previous video, you want to make sure that I am a admin on your folio. So I'll bring up this sample again to show you. So okay. Okay, I'm not seeing on here where this is. I don't know why it's telling me I've made changes, because I haven't made changes on this. I'll go here. Okay, let me go here. I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but there should be a settings icon here. All right, I'm going to leave that alone for now. But the key point is that you're going to want to work from that. You're going to want to work from that sample page, right? I mean that help page as your guideline. Okay, and in another video next week, I'll show you how to submit your folio to Blackboard. Okay, it's going to be so incredibly simple. All right, but for now, just view this as an adventure and take comfort in the reality that I'm not going to expect you to reinvent the wheel, and I'm not going to expect you to do something that I myself could not accomplish, and I am not, and I do understand that we are still working in pandemic mode, as it were. That's not to say that I don't expect you to be able to construct a folio, but I understand the circumstances under which a lot of us are working and living right now. Okay? So, again, if you have any questions, please text me on the number on the syllabus, and we will we'll keep in touch, okay? All right. That's it for this video. Thank you very much.